Want an edge for betting the Super Bowl? Click the link in the description to download VSiN's free betting guide.
All right, he is joining us now. Had dinner with him last night while the awards were being given out, as we mentioned earlier on the show. He is from FTN Sports. He is the creator of DVOA. He is our buddy Aaron Schatz, and he joins us now. How you doing, man?
It's been an interesting morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just set the stage. Let's start with MVP Lamar Jackson. When he won his first MVP, he was unanimous.
Yes.
Last night,
I did not have a vote then.
You did not.
But I would have voted him number one in 2019, yes.
Okay. And so yesterday, we learned that he had 49 of the 50 first-place votes, and you, sir, were the one who did not vote him first place.
Yep. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
That's not what I mean. You stand by your...
No, I do stand by my choice, absolutely.
Which was?
It was Josh Allen, which was very tough. I mean, first of all, it was tough to not pick Lamar number one. And then once I made the decision that that was the way I was going to go, it was very hard to pick between Josh Allen and Dak Prescott.
And Dak was your number two?
Dak was my number two.
Lamar, 3.
Yes.
Okay. And you even, when we were talking about this, so this happened while we were at dinner last night. And while you stand by the vote, and you even said, like, this is why they have me voting, like, for a different perspective, it did jar you a little bit because you never want to be the only one, right?
Yes, I did not do this thinking I was the only one. And in particular, when the All-Pro votes came out, and 5 of us had not put Lamar Jackson on our first team, I thought, I'm saved. I thought when the MVP comes out, the 2 people who voted for Dak will vote for Dak for MVP. The 2 people who voted for Purdy will vote for Purdy for MVP. Maybe somebody votes for McCaffrey for MVP. I'm not the only one. We're okay.
Okay.
So last night when it came out, the people who put Dak Prescott and Brock Purdy as first-team quarterback then did not put those players for MVP. I was very surprised.
Yeah. So... we lost you for about 5 minutes last night during dinner. We're like, Aaron's doing his own thing right now. You're still at the table, but you weren't really present because you were sort of soaking this all in. And the impact, have you received backlash for this?
Yes. I mean, first of all, I will say there have been some positive, a lot from the analytics community, really positive stuff. There's been a lot of backlash, very negative, homophobic comments, lots of really mean DMs.
Oh, my gosh.
I've had to report a couple people. It was so bad that I felt like I needed to report them. But also a couple people were like, I'm from Baltimore, but I read your argument, and I understand. For those who don't know,
at
ftnfantasy.com/DVOA, which is my page, I have an article about my award winners, which refers back to a previous article about my All-Pro team, which gives a very long explanation of my thought process. Basically, I mean, I looked at a number of different statistics, not just my own, but SIS and PFF and ESPN's QBR and EPA, and no matter what you looked at, Prescott and Allen had better seasons than Jackson this year.
Stephen A. went after you a little this morning?
Stephen A. Smith went after me this morning, not knowing it was me. He didn't know who it was.
Right.
He said something about it must be somebody who wants to make sure Josh Allen will still talk to them in the locker room, which is strange because I'm not in the locker rooms. That's not my gig. And,
right.
And it's nothing about Josh Allen per se. Like I said, I seriously considered going with Dak Prescott as well. In the end, Dak Prescott played the easiest schedule of any quarterback this year, and that's part of why his statistics were so good, and that's why I put him second and not first.
What do you think when this, like as the days go on and the weeks go on, the heat of it will blow over? What is the thing that bothers you the most, that for the end of time your vote will have cost him a unanimous?
Yeah, the people will talk about that.
Yeah.
And
do you worry that Lamar himself will say something to you?
It's funny. We talked about that last night as a possibility, and I was a little worried about it. But the fact that it hasn't happened yet, I thought if it's going to happen, he'll be at like an after party after the honors and he'll tweet or something.
Yeah.
Since it hasn't happened yet, I don't think that will happen. And, if the time comes that I sit and meet Lamar Jackson, I will explain to him, I will happily explain to him my vote and that I had him third. And the third best quarterback in the NFL is not a bad place to be.
Right. It's when I say Belichick is still on my Mount Rushmore. I just don't have him number one. I get the same sort of thing where I'm like, doesn't mean I think he's middle of the road.
Right. I mean, yeah. I will say, look, the one thing that hurts are the accusations of racism.
Have you gotten those?
Which I have, and I could have avoided that by putting Dak Prescott number one. Theoretically, I would think Dak Prescott #1 would avoid those accusations.
But obviously, that's not what's at play.
But that's not what's at play here at all.
I mean, that's sucky.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I could play look at my other votes. Look at how I didn't vote for T.J. Watt and I didn't vote for Christian McCaffrey. But I mean, it really is about performance on the field and numbers. And both of those things, by the way. I mean, people talk about the unquantifiable things that Lamar Jackson does and the eye test. But the fact is, if you watched Dak Prescott and Josh Allen this year, they also did unquantifiable things and passed the eye test in a way that I don't think Brock Purdy did.
I'm so sorry that you're even having to endure any of that, Aaron. I really am.
That's the tough accusation. Is that's other stuff is people calling me names is whatever. That's just Twitter.
But like you said, I think one of the things here, Gil, too, is to point out in all of this is that your decision was based off of your own system. DVOA did not have Lamar Jackson as the best quarterback in the NFL. You go to Pro Football Focus, like you said, which you also took into account, did not have him as the #1. Had Josh Allen as the #1 quarterback overall graded. If you just parse it out by just like passing grade, which we know Lamar brings more to the table than that, but I mean he was down at the 10th in the passing grades over the course of the season for PFF. So I mean, again, it wasn't like you said, it wasn't just an eye test thing. You looked and the numbers and stuff the work that you do, the work that you rely on from other guys that you consider to be smart as well, is what actually played into
the decision. If it was just my stats, but other people who did advanced stats had things differently, I would have definitely reconsidered. Because I'm not like, everything I do is right.
Right.
But it was like everybody's advanced stats all had the same outcome. The order was different, but the outcome was the same, which is that Jackson was 3rd or lower in pretty much everything.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.